The Avengers. I've been really excited to talk about this movie, not because it is a great movie or a really good movie or even a movie I love. It's just the fact that this movie is really fun to watch, and that's the best thing I can say about it. Now let's tear this movie to shreds. This is considered one of the best Marvel movies, and yes, it is. But it's also the worst technically made Marvel movie. This movie stinks technically. It looks, it's shot, it's edited, effects wise, it feels like a really bad TV movie. And that is awful. From what I understand, when they were making these first phase Marvel movies, they had to sit a fixed set of funding for each movie on how they're going to make them. And the Avengers one was the one they spent, the one that they wanted to do the most, but they knew it was going to kill them if it wasn't a success. If one of these movies bombed, it was all over. It was all done for. So that's what they did. And the Avengers came around, and it made $1 billion worldwide because it was a really fun movie. Everybody was talking about this movie when it came out. And because it was a fun movie. Not a good movie, but fun. And I don't mean to say that as like it's awful or anything. I just think like there are people who legitimately say this is a great movie, one of the best movies ever made. No. It is a perfectly fine, fun, dumb movie. And dumb in a way like you're not going to look for complex themes from this movie or anything like that. It's not very serious, stuff like that. That's what I mean when I say dumb. It's not like, oh, it's an awful movie and no one should like it. No, it's just what you're looking at is not the best of what movies can offer or something. You're just looking for a fun movie, and that's what this is. And as that, I think it's really successful. And a lot of that comes down to they got Joss Whedon to direct this movie. And Joss Whedon has been given a lot of crap as of late because of Justice League. But let's be real. Joss Whedon did a lot of great stuff. Firefly, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, all great stuff. And this movie has a lot of his touch when it comes to dialogue. And that's why... And yeah, here's what I'll say. The dialogue for this movie ranges from pretty decent to funny stuff. Like really funny stuff. Then it goes to like really bad, terrible lines. So it's kind of a mixture of both. I really like that. I really like the banter between the characters. It really works, and a lot of it's really funny too. I've seen this movie about 10 or something times, and I still find new stuff to laugh at. It's still really funny and fun, and I mean, at the end of the day, this movie isn't a smart movie. It's kind of generic. Like, really, when you simplify this movie to its basic tones, or not basic tones, but its basic elements, it's literally just, we gotta get a team together, they fight and bicker with each other, they don't get along, and then they come together to fight a threat. It's pretty simple, pretty generic. There's lots of movies with that kind of template, but it does it in a fun way, and I enjoy watching it. But I'm just saying, like, this is my biggest issue with Marvel movies. You'll probably hear me say it in every single one of these reviews. The overhype is ridiculous. This is in the top 10, top 200 of IMDb rated movies. It's one of the highest rated movies of all time and stuff like that. It does not deserve that. It does not. Yeah, sure, it's a fun movie. And as that, we should treat it as that, as a fun movie, because that's what it is. And this movie, and a lot of people will argue with me and say about this is like, no, they are great movies. But when you watch this movie, does it feel to you like it's trying to be more than a fun movie? I don't feel like it is. I mean, there's fun aspects about it. I like Loki as a threat in this movie. I mean, he's kind of generic, but Tom Hiddleston plays him with kind of an edge to it, and it makes it more interesting. And that's the fun part about it. Tom Hiddleston's a great actor. Actually, he does a lot of good stuff. But yeah, I like that he plays the character in a way that makes him, because if someone else was doing this, it would be pretty bad. Like he'd probably remind me of like Steppenwolf from the Justice League movie or whatever, the Joss Whedon version, right? But no, he's not like that. But yeah, this movie was very fun, and I know people get really pissed off about the Coulson death in this movie and how he doesn't stay dead. Um, I guess that's a spoiler, but in Agents of Shield, he comes back, and I think for a while there it wasn't really explained. I don't know if it ever was really well explained. I used to keep up with that show when it came out, and then I kind of just gave up. But my thing about it was like, in this movie, Nick Fury literally says that the cards that he shows everyone to get them all to come together, which is why people complain about this death, is that it doesn't matter, and but it does. But the death isn't the important part. He made half of the crap he set up to get these people to come together, and as that, it was effective, and he did it. He was just manipulating our characters to get them to come together. So I don't find a big issue with it like a lot of people do. I just, yeah, I out of so for what this movie is, 6 out of 10. A lot of these movies don't go higher than that, and yeah, I mean, and it's the I like a lot of the stuff about this movie. I like the humor in it. I think it's pretty funny. I laugh at it. I have fun with it. But at the end of the day, it's still like a pretty generic, average, fun movie. And sure, it's fun, but that doesn't make it more than it is. So, uh, and I like that they just reintroduced the Hulk in this movie, by the way. The Hulk, like, every Hulk movie is terrible, and you don't need to watch them. And the way they introduce him in this movie is better. They explain everything properly through lines of dialogue. Actually, this movie is kind of like, you really don't need to watch any of the other Avengers movies, except for maybe Thor and Captain America, because they're just introduced so, like, Captain America, there's just a little bit more to his movie in terms of explaining who his character is. Thor does a great job of doing nothing because it's really boring, but I feel like you wouldn't understand the aspects of Thor and Loki in this movie. But I think you don't need to see Iron Man. He's introduced pretty well. I mean, I guess there's a little bit more backstory, but I feel like not a lot of people did see Phase 1 when this movie came out. They didn't see the rest of the Marvel movies because, well, none of them made quite the money this movie did. So I think it was just kind of like, yeah, nobody did see those movies. I mean, not to say like absolutely no one. I'm sure there were people keeping up with all of them, but I don't think there was anyone who, I think majority of average moviegoers just saw the Avengers, and then maybe they went back and saw the other ones, but from that point forward, they knew they had to see every single one. But the rest of them, I think that's the thing. I think, yeah, it's just a fun movie. I enjoy it. The Avengers. What can I say? It's just a fun movie that, despite its technical flaws, it's still a fun movie.